Satish, so and I've known you before, so I think at least for our audience, if you can uh, give us your introduction, right, that would be great. So,
Sure. My name is Satish Datla. I'm the CEO of Greenbridge.AI. We are a renewable energy focused performance monitoring solution. And we have built purpose built AI models, large language models that help our customers improve their operational performance. So we're really focused on a specific industry and creating value there.
and when you say value, can you let us know what kind of value you're planning on bringing to your customers with
Most of
your
the
current
value,
initiatives with AI? So, sorry, thank you.
yeah, I mean, most of the value, irrespective of the industry, I think centers around broadly three or four themes. One is, can you help me save? Can you help me optimize my operations and help me save? Can you help me grow my top line revenue, right? Bottom line EBIT, or can you help me mitigate any risk? So that we apply that framework to operating renewable energy plants like wind, solar, or battery energy storage systems, and help our customers deal with a lot of the inefficiencies that exist right now, and we are using advanced technology to solve those problems.
When you say advanced technology, what's new in the industry today?
AI and large language models are right pretty new to any industry right now. So most business leaders are trying to grapple with. They're hearing so much buzz around it, and they're wondering what does that mean for my business? How is it going to transform my business? Is it going to provide me a competitive edge if I don't adapt or use this technology? What does that mean? So they're trying to figure that out and really test that right now. Large language models, I think, are going to transform a lot of the traditional businesses, especially in the case of uh, data-driven decision making. Right? That's they want to make the best decisions using their own operational data or financial data, and have a competitive edge in the market. And the large language models purpose built for specific industries are really fast tracking that approach and process for a lot of our customers.
One of the things that I've noticed in the industry today, right, and wanted to see what you're seeing, from within your company too, right? If I look at a lot of the one of the challenges that the industry is facing today because of the drastic shift in the technology space. If you go back 3 years and if you compare with what were critical, for a lot of the companies today, right, in terms of where they would like to invest the money in terms of ROI, a lot of things I think they are no longer critical. And if you go back 3 years back, I think there was no chat GPTs, right? There was no buzz for data and AI. So how are you able to navigate some of these challenges, right? Because I think recently I was talking to one of the CIOs of the companies, and their challenge was 3 years back they've invested heavily into certain technologies which are no longer considered to be critical to success, right? And now they are being forced to bring all of them down before they can move to a different technology. So if I look back last 20 years, mainly in the industry space, mainly in the technology space, even my personal experience, I've never seen something changing so drastically, right? I think so how are you able to take these changes in number one thing, right? One is I think if it's a bigger companies like Fortune 100 companies, one thing that I've seen is they do have their own challenges, but when it comes to budgeting and ROIs, right, I think they have better leverage in terms of making those changes and getting adapting to the new changes in the technology space. But when it comes to small business, right, it's difficult. I mean, sometimes you start something and then if you find that that's no longer where the market wants to go, right, and if you find some better technology, then we'd have to have that change and adapt and lift and shift very fast and very rapid, right? So how are you able to see those things, and how are you able to navigate all of those challenges, Satish?
I think where I'm seeing the biggest change happening is the dollar value revenue per employee is a good metric to look at how transformation is happening. A lot of the large enterprises wanted to try out new technology, especially in the case of data insights. They've hired 100 or 200 data scientists thinking that they have to build a lot of optimization models, right? Performance insights based models using traditional data science and machine learning. All they were doing was using regression models, correlation models for a major chunk of the work. All that is being made so easy with large language models that they don't need as many developers. They don't need as many scrum masters, product managers to detail out the business requirements, to detail out everything that happens, that they're able to build solutions really fast. That's number one. I think that translates to the revenue, dollar value revenue per employee is going up like crazy. And what that also means is for the mid market, where they could not afford to hire huge teams to bring about transformation, they now have an opportunity to really, really leverage this macro growth trend around large language models. Getting a lot done faster, quicker, with much cheaper, with much smaller teams is where I see the trend going. Yeah, generally for all, not just for our power and utilities, but broadly, that's for large enterprises, mid-market customers, that's the trend. Is it moving as fast in certain segments? Probably not. There's a lot of inertia around resistance to change, that people have been doing things a certain way. But as you're seeing in the news, Southwest, for example, right, they're making huge decisions around, yeah, we've overhired people during COVID. We don't need as many people anymore. It started with Silicon Valley, and now it's coming into uh, the main land outside of Silicon Valley, in a sense, where companies are now thinking, yeah, I can get a lot done faster, quicker, cheaper with this latest technology. And I think in terms of trend cycles, web really transformed how business was done. And I think this is another cycle where it's gone beyond anybody's wild imagination. And hey, I'm really curious to see where this goes in the future.
No, thank you so much, Satish. And when it comes to data science, right? I think I want to talk about data science and AI at least for some time, since that is where all the buzz is right now. And you know, traditionally, what were the some of the challenges that you've had with the energy sector, right? That you're into right now, and how is AI and data helping you with to overcome some of those challenges, if at all? So.
I mean, I think what I'll center that discussion around is primarily the availability of technology, the availability of modeling or data science capabilities was limited to a very small segment of big customers having the budgets, having the wherewithal to hire people and use that technology. Now it's become so easy for other segments to leverage that technology at a much rapid pace. So, I mean, to your question about if the thesis centers around, without talking about AI data science, the way I would approach it is the business outcome that they were looking to gain is I need the best data driven decisions. I need to solve the siloed data challenges. How do I make sure that I get the best decision that right percolates up to the top as a CEO, as a CIO? That was really hard for large organizations, right? This vertical silos, there's business segment silos. Getting that data in a good place that is standardized and that can be used as training data set for a model was a big problem that they were trying to solve. So there were fundamental data acquisition challenges that were in place. Now, I think that still exists to a certain extent, but the after effect of getting to the right insights has become much faster. A lot of focus still is being put to IoT, for example, like we were talking earlier. The data acquisition, getting data at a rapid fashion, getting data that is much more streamlined and clean is still a fundamental challenge that I think will need to be solved for large customers. I hope that, I don't know if that answered your question, but
It did. It did, because I think one of the industry I won't say challenge, but mainly when it comes to new technologies, right? I see benefits, with mainly with data and AI, because at the same time I also see some challenges. A few of the challenges that I have seen is, one is security risk of it, right? So I mean, if you're starting to rely more on the AI, I mean, what are some of the risks that you see? Just not for your industry, right? But as a whole, what do you think we have to look at? When it comes to the risk assessment, right? For using AI.
I think my view is the data privacy, data security, especially for enterprises, has been addressed to a certain extent because of the prevalence of cloud migrations, cloud transformations that happen. The shift from on-prem data centers to the cloud was primarily addressing enterprise customers' objections or conservative approach to saying, I don't want my data to get out there. But now everybody is on the cloud. So, and with all the compliance, governance, regulation that's put in place, even places like Europe or California, and even in countries where they have legal requirements that data can never leave the country, they're now all on the cloud. So I think that's, in my opinion, because I've seen large energy customers who have on-prem cloud data centers are have now become a bit more comfortable with getting that, because a lot of that the security, governance, compliance is in place. Unlike consumer space, so I'm primarily talking about B2B enterprise customers. I think B2C is where it's still all up in the air, in my view. That there's right most people's personal PIIs out there. That's at least being managed decently in the B2B enterprise space. That's one big risk mitigation activity that customers are still spending a lot. It's that fear of making sure that their confidential information doesn't get out. Is it going to be entirely solved? I don't think so. But at least the measures are being put in place to make sure that happens. I mean, cybersecurity, irrespective of where AI goes, cybersecurity is just going to become more important, especially in our industry where every asset is deemed as critical infrastructure from a national security standpoint. So there are closed loop systems that are not connected to the internet. So there's a lot of additional compliance that happens there. But yeah, they're getting there. They're using the technologies.
And what are some of the areas where the companies will have to be focusing right now, if they're becoming more and more dependent on the AI space and machine learning space? What are some of the things that the company should also be focusing, so that they're also avoiding any future risks?
I mean, the way I'd look at it is really understanding how businesses will be transformed. It's more around the business model is right. Without it could be AI today, it could be something else tomorrow. But am I going to lose the business competitive edge or the moat that I have? Is it going to be taken away? That a new entrant is going to come and disrupt it is, I think, the biggest risk companies are dealing with. Right, more than thinking about what AI solutions I build or what AI applications build. How is this really going to transform my business model? Is it going to help me grow, get into new markets? Is it going to help me tackle unforeseen problems earlier? Yes. But I think there's that approach of, are you going to be cannibalizing existing revenue sources and really take an entirely different approach? It is also, and I think one of the fundamental challenges I see happening out there. Right? It's really, really hard to say no to a very stable source of revenue and try to build something for the future. Very few companies do it, and the really successful ones are the ones that stay for the long term. A lot of the companies that don't adapt won't exist.
I think thanks for sharing that, Satish. And what about your company? Are you taking it seriously in terms of being more innovative and using more new technologies, or what is your current approach for your company?
I mean, so what we are primarily basing our business model around is really leveraging the two largest macro growth trends in the world. One is energy transition with sustainability focus, and we are also leveraging the Gen AI or the AI approach of solving those energy transition problems. So we feel that, one, I think from a business model standpoint, being on those macro growth trends is gonna, and the unique intersection of solving energy transition, renewable energy power generation, and other adjacent areas where there's a bigger energy consumption and a bigger carbon risk, and how do you apply this technology to solve those problems, is our hope is that that's going to put us in good stead for the long term. But I mean, we have to be flexible enough to adapting, testing new things. Right now, we have a window of opportunity where we are able to build solutions that some of the large players are moving a bit slow, in my view. That gives us an opportunity to move fast, capture, provide value to our customers using that opportunity. But tomorrow it could be quantum computing, it could be something else. So you always have to figure out ways to adapt. Because in my career, I've started with web applications and then shifted to mobile applications at IBM, and then I was in the IoT practice at Deloitte, doing data-driven insights for large industrial customers. So technology is going to change. So you always have to figure out how to adapt and make those changes. As you grow, it's easy to say that. As you grow, it's going to become hard, like I said, right? Cannibalizing an existing product line or a source of revenue is not an easy thing to do. But if you want to survive for the long term, I think you'll have to figure out a way to deal with it.
One of the advantages that I have seen, right, especially when you talk about big ships, legacy ships, right? When I say legacy ships, I'm talking about Fortune 100 companies, right, who've grown so big. The challenge that they have is, whenever there's a change in the technology, for them to move fast is not easy. But at the same time, when your ship is small, I think if you have the right change and adapt methodology, right? I think it's always in my experience, I have seen it like if you have the right team and right vision, and it's always going to be it does have its challenges, but it's always going to be much easier when you compare it with the larger companies. So
Yeah, I mean, you are a thought leader in the VMO space. So, what trends are you seeing in terms of what are the things that customers, companies are doing that are being done successfully? What are the things that are being done really badly and where they fail?
that's a great question. When it comes to VMO space, right? I'm going to take that as two folds. One is the delivery itself, right? What are some of the challenges the delivery today? I think I'll take it as fold number one, right? Because of the change in the technology, it's always difficult to find the right talent, right? And get the right resources for when it comes to delivering the projects. That's always been, I think, especially last 3 years, I think getting this chat, with all the AI and data stuff, right? It's important that we get the right resources to deliver the projects at the right time, right? So that's mainly on the delivery side of it for the VMO space. But on a bigger picture, what I've seen, companies doing is, they are even the bigger companies, they want to fail fast. They want to fail fast, right? And they are making rapid changes. And the reason for that is almost all the CIOs today, for bigger companies, they want to move fast. They have to make fast decisions, and if they have to move fast, and if they have to catch up with the technology, they're okay to fail fast, right? I think that's what I'm seeing in where I see things right now. And one of the challenges for bigger companies, right? When I say fail fast, they want to make sure that they're failing fast for the right reasons, right? So, even in terms of budgeting, in terms of at least with the current economic condition, I mean, I see two things. One is where do they want to put their money right now, right? What is their qualifier for critical to success projects, right? How do you identify your critical to success projects? Number one thing. And where they are focusing right now is, I think they look at all their existing portfolio, and they want to pick the top three revenue generators, right? And how do we, and where they are focusing is, how can they use the AI to build the key accelerators for those products, and to improve their ROIs, right? I think that's where I see a lot of the projects and a lot of the CS focusing right now.
I see. So in terms of failing fast, um, what's your view on, does innovation happen in increments, or are companies more successful if they have R&D and growth teams that are totally isolated and given the free hand to be successful?
I personally think, I in my personal experience, right, for any company, especially in the technology space, it's always important to have a R&D space. But based on the size of the company, right, I think that'll come down to how much budget you want to allocate for R&Ds, right? Because a lot of the R&Ds are, I think they're long-term investments. So I think it's important, especially with the trend that we have right now and how things are moving. It is critical to have R&D and focus on new innovations.
Yeah, I mean, I think that inertia to change for large, like you say, cruise ships, you can't just change direction every day,
Yeah,
right? Every hour. So it takes a lot of, I think, cultural adaptiveness to change, really a long-term vision.
because
And then the right, I think, stakeholder support.
very,
The company's culture and organization structure needs to be set up to facilitate that.
and you hit the right. I was about to. You hit the right point, right? With mainly with legacy ships, one of the biggest challenges that they have is, I think they have built this culture for a company for almost 100 years, and when you have to make big shifts drastically, the culture will impact. So it's also important how the internal stakeholders are taking the whole changes, right? I think that's where I see, in my personal experience, that's where I see a huge challenge, because on top, you have CI. I mean, you have the obviously CXOs, right? They have a good vision, and they know where they want to go most of the time, because I think they are coming from the top, right? But when you make these fail fast, drastic decisions, it's important how it is impacting the culture overall, right? And that's very important. And where I guess when you want to fail fast, when you want to move fast, right? I personally think the CIO or the CXOs of the world, for those companies, I think they should take precautions to make sure that the company overall is seeing their vision, right? I think that's very important. But where I see bigger companies failing today is they want to move fast, they want to fail fast, but are they able to have the right communications, and are they able to show their vision to the entire company? Not everybody is able to do that, because they are so tied up with moving fast and failing fast.
I think it becomes even harder for publicly listed companies because they have such short-term focus on quarter-to-quarter revenue growth that it's really hard to implement any disruptive programs. Maybe we can cut this part out, but unless you have a disruptor like Elon Musk, right? Changing the inefficiencies in large organizations, including the government, is never going to happen.
Another good example is, I think if you look at the publicly limited companies, even Facebook, right? I mean, when they started and what they are today is entirely different, right? Today,
There's always an exception. Anytime there's a founder still actively involved, right? Once you bring in professional managers, it's very hard to enforce certain direction decisions, right? Organizations, momentum. So anytime there's still a founder, that's CEO, that's still involved, there's still a lot of opportunity for innovation happening. Once that goes out, take any example, Apple, Facebook, Google, Oracle, founders are still active there. Tesla.
you made a very good point, Satish, because I think if I look back, right, I think most of the companies who had done that course correction, based on the market conditions and the technology space, I think I personally think the founders have played an important role because they have more courage, and they have more risk to take, right? And they are. So I think that's really helping the companies today.